Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Obviously, as you know, Italy have been crowned European champions following last night's penalty shootout victory and triumph over England in the final. The final itself brought an end to what was, in my opinion, a fantastic and an exciting tournament. And we're going to be talking all about that final, all about the Euros as a whole. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. But for now, let's get back to talking about the final of Euro 2020 and the tournament overall. The final last night was a complete roller coaster of emotion for everybody that was involved. It was like a wave constantly going up and down throughout the entirety of the contest, as momentum shifted between the two sides during different periods of the whole 120-minute match. England got off to the perfect and flying start when Luke Shaw broke the deadlock, put them in front inside the opening few minutes of the game, and it took a while for Italy to really wake up and grow into the game, but eventually they did. They eventually woke up, they eventually grew into the game and started causing England some problems. And midway through the second half, they made their pressure tell by grabbing an equaliser when Leonardo Bonucci pounced on a bit of a goalmouth scramble to make the Italians equalise. A goal that would see the game go into extra time, where no winner could be found there either, despite obviously, like I say, momentum shifting between both teams. At one point, Italy were on the front foot, then England came into the game a bit more, and vice versa. It was a constant shifting game, a bit of an end-to-end one. It was a really weird and sort of very intriguing game at that. But eventually, it all came down to the dreaded penalty shootout, and as we all know what happened there, Italy were the ones to hold their nerve as the Three Lions crashed out of the competition, crashed out as runners-up, despite Jordan Pickford saving 2 Italian penalties. It wasn't enough as England missed 3 of theirs, and Italy were the ones to win the Euros for this year. Southgate's decisions will and have obviously been called into question since then by certain fans. Substitutions and the choice of penalty takers were the decisions that were looked at very closely by all involved. And, you know, personally, my biggest thing was taking off Jordan Henderson so deep into the second half of extra time, when of course he is a big game player, and obviously being in that kind of high pressure situation. That was one of the decisions that I didn't personally find to be too great of a decision from Southgate. And also, I think I share a lot of people's frustration when I say that Bukayo Saka taking a penalty when the likes of Jack Grealish and Raheem Sterling are on the pitch was also a bit of a baffling decision. Having that responsibility on a 19-year-old shoulders in Saka was a bit of a strange decision in my opinion, especially because Grealish has been known to take a few penalties for his club side, Aston Villa. So there were a few decisions that didn't quite make sense, but look, take nothing away from Italy. Italy were great on the night. They grew into the final, like I say, and I think overall, based on the whole tournament, were probably the best team in the entirety of the competition. Best team to watch, and therefore probably on the whole probably deserved it in the end. The final brought to an end what was arguably one of the best Euros, certainly in my lifetime, but certainly one of the best international tournaments overall in general, in my opinion. Obviously, had COVID not been a thing, this tournament, like a lot of other things in life now or over the past year and a half, could have been even better. And I'm talking about that from more of an opposition fan's point of view, that opposition fans would obviously be allowed more into the other stadiums that were across Europe, into the different countries and various other games that were happening. And it obviously would have made it for a better footballing atmosphere overall. But in terms of talent and quality on display in the different pitches and the different stadiums across Europe, it was certainly a great tournament to watch, full of goals, full of quality, and just overall fantastic. What was also beautiful about this tournament, in my opinion, is how united as football fans we all were in some way or another throughout the whole tournament. And speaking from an English point of view, of course, that unity did stem from Gareth Southgate's side doing so well in getting to the final itself. But just being out in pubs where fans were watching the game, the inclusion of everybody involved, you know, there was nothing horrible about it. It was all unity, it was all united, it was all inclusive. You know, it was fantastic to watch. It was great to watch. The inclusion of everyone, regardless of where you were or where you're from or whatever that may be, everyone being on the same page was amazing to see and be a part of. For that moment, everyone was united, everyone was proud, everyone was on the same page, everyone took their mind off of other issues and focused on football and making both memories and history. And it was amazing to be a part of, to see, to watch, to witness. The togetherness was displayed up and down the country. Even where I'm from in Nottingham, there was still gatherings after all the games that we won, and even after last night's defeat, loads of fans gathered to still sing football chants and sing England songs, even after we had lost, because of what England accomplished. And I'm sure that was the same for other countries and other teams that were also participating in this tournament. Overall, it was fantastic to witness. However, of course, you'll get the odd case or odd minority of extreme football fans that seem to take things a little too far, and of course, that reared its ugly head again last night. And that it obviously does occur in every footballing culture and every footballing background, but the extreme sad part about last night was that the three players to miss the crucial penalties for England were Jadon Sancho, Bukayo Saka and Marcus Rashford. And what happened after the game was that all three were unfortunately and sadly subject to racial abuse online. It's sad, it's horrific, it shouldn't happen, but again, it was sort of predictable. As horrible as that may sound, it's kind of predictable that that kind of thing was set to rear its ugly head yet again, because that is seemingly what happens now. A small number of football fans take things a bit too far, or should I say quote-unquote football fans seemingly take things a bit too far, and they let the entire side down, because this has been a fantastic tournament. Like I say, all fans united on all footballing standpoints, and then a certain few individuals, a minority group of individuals take it too far. And like I say, the sad part is that this is becoming so much of the norm now, that every time something like this happens, we continue to see more and more things like this, that it was fairly predictable that this was going to happen. It shouldn't make it right, definitely shouldn't make it right. But it's another case of social media and the powers that be not doing enough when it comes to this kind of online racist abuse or online hatred or whatever you want to call it in general. Like, they're not doing enough, and they keep on having these kind of events and things happen, and it's just not being sorted out enough. And it's horrible that a game will finish the way it did, and people instantly jump online to dish out the hatred, the abuse, the racism towards those that were involved. And again, it's an extreme minority of football fans that have decided to take it too far and spoil and taint what has been a fantastic tournament overall, and fantastic from a fan's point of view. And just a quick note on the format of this entire tournament, the format of playing in different countries, in different stadiums across all rounds of this competition. It did have a kind of unfortunate timing to it, I will admit, but the fact that the number of teams had to travel plenty of distance to go to their games and play in their games, while some, including England, didn't really have to travel all that far by having to play all of their games apart from one at Wembley, at home, in front of their home crowd. Did seem a little bit of an unfair disadvantage, I won't lie. I can see where they're coming from in terms of they thought that England had a bit of an unfair advantage in that respect. And of course, COVID didn't make things any easier either, with obviously having a small number of opposition fans allowed in certain stadiums. But, you know, I think UEFA even came out and said that this kind of tournament cannot happen again in the near future. And I think it did have some unfortunate timing to it. I think if this had happened in a non-COVID situation, it would have obviously been a better tournament for opposition fans overall to get to certain countries, have a great time, and obviously get into stadiums and fill out those stadiums as much as they could. I did have some unfortunate timing to it. But I think I agree with you, Ava. This kind of competition cannot happen again in the near future, and they should stick to at least having it set in one or maybe at most two countries overall for future tournaments. But overall, like I say, this tournament was full of quality, was full of talent, and was definitely one of the best international tournaments in my lifetime. Yes, it was let down by a few things in the end, but overall, it was a great watch, an intriguing watch, an exciting and history-making tournament. And we should congratulate Italy on winning it. They were certainly the best team to watch throughout the entirety of the tournament, in my opinion, from a footballing perspective. And Roberto Mancini's side played with flair, with speed, and a total footballing style, and were very strong throughout the entirety of the tournament, and were worthy winners. And whilst the footballing world will now turn their attentions towards pre-season as another footballing season looms on the horizon, international football will look to continue its journey to Qatar for 2022, where the next World Cup is being hosted. But of course, as I always say, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of last night's final between Italy and England, where of course Italy triumphed over the Three Lions to win this competition? What did you make of that final? What did you make of the tournament as a whole? Who was your player of the tournament? What did you make of everything that this tournament brought about with it? I'd love to know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it, down below in the comment section. I'm sure they'll all make for interesting reading. Otherwise, hit that like button on the way if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video.